I'm a 28-year-old digital marketer and content creator with years of experience making viral content for other people. Here's how I write high-quality scripts that boost retention as fast as possible without spending a dime. Let's get into it. So first of all, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a situation where I've wanted to create a YouTube video or a long piece of content, but they seemed a little lackluster, and I would go on tangents just because I love to talk, right? You ask anybody, and they know exactly that I love to talk. Turns out the best way to bring your viewer back into the video is by just making the script. So to be honest, for a while I thought scripts were a little bit redundant, mainly because they felt a little rigid and you had to follow word for word, or things started to sound a bit disingenuous unless it was a reaction video. But after seeing the results of basically watching some of my favorite content creators, writing my own scripts, reading books on storytelling and so forth, I can't deny that a system for scripting is absolutely crucial, especially if you own a business. So the first thing is that you need to choose a place to capture your idea, right? So you could either use things like a teleprompter, your phone, or basically any screen that's legible, right? So you just need a place where you can capture your ideas on a consistent basis, so that way you'd be able to practice the aspect of writing, right? And the best copywriters are often the best storytellers, okay? Number two, you need to pick your idea and generate the title. As Mr. Beast will tell you a bunch of different times, like, the title and the thumbnail are absolutely important, so why is that any different for an article or a podcast interview, right? So look up YouTubers that you absolutely love and emulate or remake some of the videos that you love, but put your own spin on it depending on what your industry is, like if you're a lawyer, a dentist, a social media manager just like me, and many more. The way that I do this is that I use vidIQ. So I love vidIQ mainly for scraping, just like scraping a bunch of different ideas that I could be using on a consistent basis and seeing what other influencers are using, so that way I can use that to my advantage, right? The next thing is scrape ideas using blunt force and a sweat. The reason being is because I go on to platforms like TikTok, like Instagram, like YouTube, no matter if it's long form or short form, to look up ideas and put them on a Google Sheet, so that way I can use them later, right? Because we want to always operate from a place of something that works, rather than just basically trying to recreate the wheel and causing us to invest more time into something when we could just be working on our business. Does that make sense? And number three, you got to have a storytelling structure, right? The best pieces of content always include some sort of a story. So let's say, for example, Casey Neistat. He has this really interesting concept, which I'm not even sure if it's like for a screenplay situation or how to write for shows. Essentially, what a 3-arc story encompasses is a problem, a journey, and a resolution. It's essentially like, what is the problem? What is the setup and to get into the journey? And you can think of multiple different stories that operate under this archetype, right? What is the journey in order to get there? And how does the story get resolved, right? So if I were to make a super simple example, it would be, guy falls in love. The problem is that the girl doesn't love him. He goes on a journey to figure out how he can get this girl to love him. And then at the end of it all, when he has tried everything and feel like all hope is lost, she actually has loved him from the start. Boom, story. And another thing that you could learn is different structures from different people, right? So I suggest reading books on storytelling. The storyteller that knows more structures of how to tell a story, the more people that they can resonate with, especially if one structure doesn't work with one person, but it does with the other. Does that make sense? So, for example, here are 3 books that are super important for storytelling, which is How to Tell a Story by The Moth, All Marketers Are Liars. Save the Cat is a series, so you can check out all the Save the Cat, but they're based on the original book, which was made by Blake Snyder, okay? Now, step number 4, write out the content of the video to achieve the goal of the video using one of the following deliveries, okay? So there's only really 3 ways that you can give people information where they'll be able to resonate with it as fast as possible. And I learned this from $100 Million Leads from Alex Ramosi in his book. This is also something that's also been confirmed by Russell Brunson, because it was originally Russell Brunson's idea, and then Alex Ramosi happened to also have a very similar idea in this book. So I think Russell Brunson actually put it out first. But the first thing is giving a list, right? So like, people love lists. In fact, in the book Positioning, they actually mentioned that a psychologist from Harvard mentioned that humans can't remember anything within a list when there are more than 7 things on that list, right? So like people usually remember like the 7 wonders of the world or other examples of 7 in their lives, but more than 7 is quite difficult actually. Because you can remember like the 7 wonders of the world, but you can't remember every single major city on the planet to all the major states. You know what I mean? Another way to deliver stories is through steps, right? So if you have a goal that you want to accomplish, is like how many steps it takes in order to accomplish that goal. So it's like how to get bigger biceps. Here are the 3 steps that you can take in order to get bigger biceps, right? So the first is working out your biceps. The second one is nutrition. The third one is recovery. And the next thing you know, after a 3-month period, your biceps are going to get bigger. Does that make sense? And the last one, which is the most important or the strongest one in my opinion, is giving a story. So like anything given within a story, humans are used to telling stories on a consistent basis. So if you give something that would be informative or something that would be beneficial to the person within a story and they resonate with it, that story will stay with them. It's kind of like how many people resonate with stories in the Bible. Just to give you an example, how many people can literally talk about those stories on a given basis and apply that to many different things in life, right? So take note from the Bible. And the last thing within a script is to please, for the love of God, include a call to action, right? Because many people will end videos and they'll just be like, all right, cool, see you in the next one. It's like, hello, mofo. You gotta let the people know what to do. It's like they're just literally sitting there. It's like literally giving them this amazing story, this amazing piece of information that could change their life, and then they're just kind of like teased to like, how can I get more of this information? How can I apply this? How can I get more guidance, this, that, and the third? So then basically you tell them what to do, right? And make sure by the time that you're here, just deliver. I can't say that enough. Deliver on what the title said it was going to do, which in tandem, this builds trust, right? And once you build trust with people, especially within a community, more people are likely going to buy business from you and watch your videos, subscribe to your channel, than any other YouTuber that has no trust of their following. But if you're doing all this, just make sure to ask your audience to do one thing. It's like kind of that analogy of when you ask your girlfriend, and this is all for my fellas out here, right? You ask your girlfriend like, hey, where do you want to eat? And then all of a sudden she's like, I don't know, where do you want to eat? You know, it's like, then we never actually come to a decision, right? So make sure to develop or provide something that your audience could immediately do after they have watched your amazing video. Just click to subscribe if you like the video. Appreciate you. See you in the next one. Boom. And that's done. Done there. You don't have to do anything else. So just make sure that it's always just one thing, right, that you're asking your audience to do at the end of your videos in your call to action. But come here. I'm going to give you a little bonus because you thought this was the end of the video, but I'm going to give you more value because I'm that guy. Okay? So first of all, just please know your audience, right? I'm writing this to the business owners who are crushing it. They're crushing it in many different ways within their business, especially in marketing, but who have been wanting to get on socials for a while and are either doing it themselves or investing in it soon. Just please know your audience, because just as everybody has told you online, you need to niche down in such a way that your ideal client or your client avatar is somebody that you're speaking to all the time, that literally just getting through all the noise and getting to the right people that you want to sell to, right? So that's the first thing. Number 2 is decide if you're going to do word for word or if you're going to go off the cuff with bullet points, right? So every script that I have is basically written with bullet points, mainly because I do love to talk and I have a bunch of analogies that could be useful to people on a consistent basis for their business and their content. So I like to do off the cuff with bullets, but if you're kind of shy behind the camera, you definitely could just do word for word and take multiple takes, so that way you have something to send to your video editor or if you're editing it yourself. Another thing is that you should have script templates, right? So like if you choose one of the structures that we talked about earlier before, whether it be the 3-act story or anything that you learned from the books that I mentioned, that would be in a reusable Word document that you could use to type out for the rest of your script to use in a video. However, if you type this out, usually a 10-minute video with paragraph being at multiple points being 2, meaning I guess the space or between lines, I don't remember what it's called, it's 2, not 1.5, not 1, but it's 2. You would have like a 2 to 3 page situation that you could be using in your videos. If it goes over, it's not a problem, but these types of things is I try to keep YouTube videos between 10 to 15 minutes, mainly because I just want for people to get as much value, and I do talk a lot. You just learned a different approach in order to make scripts for your YouTube videos. And if you want to watch a video to basically teach you how to capture really great audio for your video so you don't sound stupid, click this video right here. And by the way, that was my call to action.